Our headquarters in Hollywood, where a lot of the country watched a very special episode of The White POTUS tonight. It was a night of pomposity and circumstance as Donald Trump addressed a joint session of Congress because, he rarely gets to be on TV, so why not?
In the world of power, politics, and public manipulation, there are two types of players. Those who command from the front lines and those who orchestrate the illusion from the shadows. Nicole Parker, a former FBI special agent turned truth bearer, has stepped forward to pull back the curtain on what she calls one of the darkest turns the Bureau has taken in decades. Her story isn't just a recounting of events. It's a chilling reminder of how institutions meant to serve justice can be silently hijacked, repurposed, and redirected under the newly appointed FBI Director Kash Patel and Attorney General Pam Bondi. The Bureau is attempting to reclaim its credibility, rebuilding a fractured image one investigation at a time. But this isn't a gentle reset. This is war. A war not of bullets and bombs, but of truth, power, and narrative. Behind every peaceful protest turned riot, behind every act of chaos justified in the name of justice, Parker says there's a money trail, a trail the new FBI is now ruthlessly following. And if the suspicions voiced by public figures like Elon Musk hold water, we're not just dealing with random outbursts of violence. We're looking at well-funded operations designed to destabilize. Parker isn't speculating. She's reporting, and her reports come from first-hand knowledge of the way things used to be and how far they've fallen. According to her, these aren't just misguided youths acting out. They're operatives, some funded, some brainwashed, many recycled from the unrests of 2020, acting under a banner of immunity. Why immunity? Because last time there were no consequences, no accountability. They got away with it. But this time, Kash Patel and his task force are coming in hot, equipped with subpoenas, financial surveillance tools, and a burning desire to peel away every layer of organized domestic disruption. Follow the money. That's the mantra. Money never lies. Bank records are silent whistleblowers. When FBI analysts map the transactions, a pattern forms, revealing how deeply rooted some of these organizations are, and more importantly, who's backing them. Parker suggests that for every masked protester lobbing a Molotov cocktail, there's a handler, a coordinator, a financier sipping wine in a penthouse. And they're the real targets. The street-level chaos is just a smokescreen. Meanwhile, in a different but equally haunting part of the justice system, Attorney General Pam Bondi made headlines by authorizing federal prosecutors to pursue the death penalty against Luigi Mangione, the accused assassin of Brian Thompson, a father of two and an innocent bystander in what investigators are calling a calculated execution. Mangione, reportedly nursing a personal vendetta against the insurance industry, walked into Thompson's office and ended a life that had nothing to do with his grievances. It wasn't just murder, it was a statement. What makes this even more shocking is the timing. Joe Biden had just commuted the death sentences of 37 convicted killers, offering them life sentences instead. That decision wasn't met with cheers. It was met with bipartisan backlash. For the families of victims, it was a betrayal. For Bondi, it was a declaration that the system had gone soft. Her decision to bring back capital punishment for Mangione wasn't just about justice. It was about drawing a line in the sand. A message to America. This is where tolerance ends. But the rot, Parker says, goes deeper than one murder or one riot. It's systemic and it's spiritual. When she joined the FBI, Parker believed in a mission. She believed in an agency that served justice without bias, defended the defenseless, and operated under one clear principle: truth above politics. But somewhere along the way, that mission got twisted. She recalls a pivotal moment that shook her to the core. Her friend, FBI Special Agent Laura Schwarzenberger, was shot and killed while executing a search warrant on a child predator. It was a high-risk operation. There was no SWAT team support, no backup, just courage. And then Parker reveals the most heartbreaking part. The FBI didn't even pay for Schwarzenberger's funeral, nor for her colleague, Daniel Alfin, who also died that morning. The Bureau said they lacked the funds. But strangely, that same organization had no problem deploying SWAT teams across the country to apprehend nonviolent January 6 suspects, many of whom were only charged with misdemeanors. Parker calls it what it is: corruption. Not just financial, but moral. The FBI, she claims, was being politically and socially weaponized. Resources weren't allocated based on justice. They were allocated based on optics. Meanwhile, families of fallen agents had to rely on private donors to bury their heroes. The The contrast was sickening. The very people who sacrificed everything for their country were being treated as afterthoughts by an institution obsessed with headlines, social equity programs, and protecting a curated image. And now Parker stands before Congress, testifying not as a whistleblower, but as a witness. Her goal isn't revenge, it's redemption. Redemption for an agency that once stood tall, redemption for colleagues who died doing the right thing, and redemption for a nation being fed narratives instead of truth. Her testimony isn't just a list of missteps, it's an indictment. Chilling inventory of how the Bureau's priorities shifted away from crime fighting and toward culture wars. She exposes the Bureau's DEI efforts, not as a bad idea in theory, but as a bloated, politically charged distraction from their real mission. While agents were being trained in social sensitivity, child predators slipped through the cracks. While managers reviewed cultural competency modules, violent criminals prepared their next move. And in the midst of all this, let's not forget the media's role in shaping the narrative. Enter Caroline. If you've never heard of her, consider yourself lucky. Caroline is the type of person who could stand in front of a 5-alarm fire, smile sweetly, and declare that the room is merely cozy. Her specialty? Taking the most outrageous, bizarre, and sometimes dangerous actions of political figures and spinning them into something that sounds just palatable enough to make headlines. Her loyalty to Trump is unwavering. Her job: translate chaos into calm. She's the face that tells America not to believe their own eyes. And somehow, she keeps getting rewarded, not for telling the truth, but for selling the lie. While people like Parker dig into the dirt to unearth what's real, Caroline paints over the cracks with glitter and charm. She isn't just enabling bad behavior, she's repackaging it for mainstream consumption. And so, here we are, caught in a war of realities. On one side, agents like Nicole Parker trying to hold the line of integrity and accountability. On the other, professional mouthpieces like Caroline spinning away the flames, assuring the public that everything is fine, just fine. While the foundations crumble, America is at a crossroads. The institutions we once trusted, law enforcement, media, and political leadership, are being pulled in every direction. Some are selling a story, others are fighting to tell the truth. The question isn't whether you'll take a side. The question is whether you'll open your eyes in time, because while some focus on chasing followers and sound bites, others are chasing justice with every ounce of breath left in them. And if you're enjoying this, if this peek behind the curtain has you leaning in, questioning, wondering, then don't just walk away. Subscribe, stay informed. This story isn't over. It's only just beginning.
The jig is up. Past American presidents sat by and let this happen, but President Trump stood up for our country, and he is saying no more. The president's message has been simple and consistent from the beginning. To countries around the world, bring us your best offers, and he will listen. Deals will only be made if they benefit American workers and address our nation's crippling trade deficit.
In a country that's teetering on the edge of chaos, where truth is often a casualty of politics, the FBI has stepped onto center stage once again. Not as the heroic force of justice we grew up believing in, but as a symbol of everything that's broken. And at the heart of this drama is former Special Agent Nicole Parker, whose voice has become one of the most compelling critiques of a once revered institution, now accused of prioritizing politics over public safety. Her latest statements don't just scratch the surface, they rip the curtain back on what many believe is systemic corruption, incompetence, and outright betrayal of the American people. Under the new leadership of Director Kash Patel and Attorney General Pam Bondi, the agency is supposedly undergoing a rebirth. But let's not pop the champagne just yet. Because this isn't about a glorious transformation, it's about cleaning up a mess so deep it could swallow the very idea of justice. What Nicole Parker lays out is nothing short of a national wake-up call. According to her, this new FBI isn't just playing softball. It's done being the passive observer while anarchists throw Molotov cocktails and extremist operatives hide behind hashtags. No more free passes for political violence. No more looking the other way while cities burn and private donors pull puppet strings. Director Patel has launched a specialized task force to root out the culprits, and we're not talking about just the street-level agitators. No, the real targets are the generals, the ones pulling the strings, signing the checks, and scripting the chaos. Because if there's one thing Parker knows, it's this: the money never lies. Follow it, and you'll find the truth. It's the kind of no-nonsense strategy that echoes old-school FBI values. back when the Bureau actually stood for something. But let's pause for a second. While the agency attempts to reinvent itself, America is still reeling from the kind of violence that's been brushed off, excused, or politicized for years. Parker pointed out that many of the recent offenders had already shown up in 2020, wearing different banners but spreading the same destruction. Back then, they got a slap on the wrist, if that. Now, not anymore. With Patel's new agenda, the gloves are off. And if Elon Musk's assertion is correct, that these groups are being heavily funded, then the new FBI might just be chasing down the biggest domestic conspiracy of our time. Foot soldiers beware. The real battle is for the brains behind the operation.